When I see people revising for a test of some kind, specifically in the knowledge-based ones like the sciences and others, a lot of them simply do block memorization, writing out notes again, often with fancy colours, and general textbook studying. However, in this video, I'm not questioning how hard they are working, or the effectiveness of their memorization methods, or even how well they learned their stuff, but how useful it was for the actual test. I say this because when an examiner marks your paper, they will not be marking whether what you have written is right or wrong, but whether it is on the mark scheme or not. Let's use an example from AQA Triple Science Biology. So this question here is asking you how to prepare a Petri dish culture, one of the required practicals. It asks you to explain the reasons for each step, and it's 6 marks. Okay then, you know this experiment. You could give 3 different things you do, add an explanation to each, and ding ding ding, classic structure, that should be your 6 marks. Now, there's a lot of things you could write about, so to be safe, you might include a few extra points. Here's an example response. Looks good. 4 things you do in the practical, plus explanations, and all of these are correct. That's about 2 marks more than required. Would you get 6 marks? No. Why? Well, let's take a look at the mark scheme. As you can see, we have this leveling system, and these repeated mention of stages. What stages? Stages that are shown in the mark scheme and not explicitly stated in the textbooks, and stages which are not that intuitive in respect to how you learnt this practical. You idiot! I mean, you felt as though you wrote about stopping microbes from getting in, but that doesn't count as post-inoculation on the mark scheme, so screw you. This feels totally unfair, of course. A format that is required in the exam, but not stated in the resources you are given as a student. But, by learning these idiosyncrasies, by learning these little tricks, you could get a lot more marks you deserved, but still didn't score, releasing these marks that have been locked up for so long. Ugh, I hear you say, more work on top of learning all this content? Aha, that's the trick. Content and exam technique don't have to be separate, but one in the same. And so, you do that with revising. Instead of learning the content, then practicing exam technique, you learn the content within the frame of the mark scheme. What do I mean? Well, if we take a look at the example question from earlier, you could have learned all these various stages from the textbook, or you could have learned exactly what is required from the mark scheme. So in the future, you know specifically what is needed, how to structure it, and how this knowledge will be tested. Now that you get the general concept, here's how you can utilize that. Say you want to revise, cell transport. Look over some resources like your notes, online resources, or the textbooks, and then find sample questions online for that topic. I'll put in the description some of the best resources I found. A great one for sciences is physicsandmathstutor.com. I'm pretty sure all exam boards release past papers too, or you can ask your teachers. It would be best if these have answers. So, you've got some questions, and you've looked over the content. Now start answering them. Try not to look at your notes. Even if you think you are doing terribly, just try and finish it. Accuracy and timing, don't worry about them. Once you've done the questions, mark them yourself against the mark scheme. Annotate your answers, highlighting parts of the question, parts of your answer, anything at all. For example, things you missed, keywords that the mark scheme specified, all of that. This is where you can get those colours out. In this way, the annotated questions and answers turn into their own form of notes. By not brute force memorizing, you won't be wasting any effort, as you'll be learning exactly what is needed in the exam, and you know how to apply your knowledge as you learn it. If you're going to be memorizing, textbooks are kind of bad because they have just so much waffle. So, you'll be cutting on time, cutting down on effort, and the effort you do put in is much more effective. Of course, the method I just detailed was what I used, and might not work for everyone. Others say they just learn directly from mark schemes, some people using completely different methods to even these. But what I wanted to do with this video is draw your attention to something I feel not enough people consider when putting in a lot of hard work. So I guess my general conclusion is, don't learn the subject, learn the exam.